Hello and welcome to the Arizona Wildcats post-game show. I'm Michael Lev with the Arizona Daily Star. This is my colleague Zack Rosenblatt. We are at Arizona Stadium, where earlier tonight the Wildcats lost to the visiting Houston Cougars 19-16. Zack, that score stood out to me in a significant way. Yes, the sequel to the BYU game last year. We went into that BYU game saying
all the same things. Yeah.
All the same things. The critical game, the game they had to win in order to, reduce the margin for error for making a postseason game. Obviously, last year kind of went off the rails. This year they went in with bigger, better hopes.
Actually,
not right away.
Yeah.
But the best case scenario, once again, is 2-1. Very similar game. Big picture-wise, what is the significance of this loss for Arizona?
I mean, I can't even count the number of times we've talked about how important this Houston game was going to be, because the Pac-12 it's such a hard conference, and they have so many tough games ahead. It's a long season, and if you come out of this, like you mentioned, if they come out of this 3-0, that's already as many wins as they had last year. And so right now they're 2-1, and they're going to be fighting and scratching and clawing to get to that 6-win bowl eligibility state. So, and they're not thinking that far ahead, obviously, but this just isn't good. I mean, there were a lot of good things to take out of this game. The defense played really well. J.J. Taylor flashed coming in the ability we saw last year. I think Sean Brown kind of showed what he's capable of when you get him the ball in space. But they lost, and now, the quarterback position is the biggest one. We're going to talk about that in a minute, but that's a big question mark right now, and if they don't figure that out, then this is going to be a long season again.
So yeah, we could spend an hour probably talking about the quarterbacks.
We spent many hours talking about it.
We have talked about it for many hours leading up to tonight, and probably will for the rest of this week, because looks like we're maybe in a quarterback controversy situation yet again.
A weird one, because we don't really know
right. So Brandon Dawkins started this game. The final numbers aren't that bad, 17 for 29 for 178 yards, but if you watch the game, which we obviously did, there were some there were some easy throws, some really makeable throws that he needed to make. Some overthrown passes. There was a touchdown down in that corner of the end zone to Tony Ellison. A sure touchdown. There was no one near him. He misses that throw. They have to settle for a field goal. If you look at this game overall, 1 touchdown, 3 field goals, 1 missed field goal, and they lose by 3 points. That's the difference in the game. So in the fourth quarter, Rich Rod goes to Khalil Tate. Now, Rich Rod said after the game that Brandon was, quote-unquote, a little nicked up. He did come back in the game, so maybe there was some validity to that. But looking at this whole quarterback situation, again, Zach, here we are, just like last year. It's kind of a mess. What did you see out of Brandon, and what do you think they're going to do moving forward?
It's interesting, and I wrote about this in my story, but one of the biggest things we talked about going into this game, and maybe I focused on one stat too much, I said if he needs to get a higher completion percentage, and Arizona will be fine. He got a higher completion percentage, but that didn't factor in, a lot of other stuff went wrong. He fumbled the ball away 2 times, really bad fumbles. I mean, the first one was Ed Oliver just being a freak of nature, to be fair. But, he had a lot of those bad throws, and, the offense just didn't really have the flow to it. So, you could complete 60% of your passes, but if you're not rushing the ball, he only had, I think, 25 rushing yards, the lowest he's had in his career in any game he's played in. Didn't throw any touchdown passes, fumble the ball twice. These are all things that just go against the completion percentage. So it's not just one stat. And I guess that's the biggest takeaway from this. It's not just one thing he needs to fix. It's kind of everything. He's not the complete package right now. He's one threat. It's run. And that threat wasn't available today, and everything went bad.
And you would think at this point in his career, being a redshirt junior, that he would be more, his 4th year in the system, that he would be more of the complete package, more of a finished product. Certainly more of a finished product than Khalil Tate, who came in, gave him a little spark, but then he too turned the ball over, threw a killer interception, and they were close to field goal range, down by 3 at that point. And then he goes back to Dawkins. They can't move the ball, and that's pretty much that. So now we're going to head into this UTEP week, probably not knowing who the starting quarterback is going to be. I bet you Rich Rod's going to keep that a mystery.
Doing this whole rodeo again.
Yeah, doing that whole thing again. As you mentioned, though, I mean, the defense played better. I mean, they gave up about 200 fewer yards than they did in the first game. They had a bunch of
stops on
critical stops on 3rd down. I mean, Houston was 6 of 15. I think that's 40% if my math is correct, which is what Marcel Yates wanted coming into the game. So that's a positive. Lorenzo Burns, after struggling early, makes a big interception. But when Rich Rod talks about not executing, it's those plays that were missed. Brandon missing Tony Ellison, Sean Brown dropping a couple passes, something he normally doesn't do. I usually feel like when Rich Rod says we didn't execute, that there's just kind of the standard thing to say after a loss, but I think in this game, it was what really happened. All right, That's our show for tonight. Thank you for watching the Arizona Wildcats postgame report. Check out our work at Tucson.com. We'll see you next time.